Everyone talks about asset allocation, but tax allocation is the true key to a successful retirement. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. Joe Werbick coming at you, and today we are going to talk about tax allocation. Now, if you're out there in the markets, if you talk to advisors or brokers or registered representatives or whoever, or you've done any research on retirement and investing, everybody wants to talk about asset allocation. And yeah, asset allocation is important. You want to look at your risk level, make sure you're truly diversified. That's great. But you have to understand that markets go up and markets go down, and then they come back up again. You can make money and lose money, earn it back. But when you pay your taxes, and if you paid too much taxes, once you've given that money to Uncle Sam, you're not getting it back. So over the last 22 years in my practice, I've helped clients focus on tax allocation. The idea of looking at your different investments and understanding the 3 different tax categories those monies should fall into, and what each of those categories means, and where should you have the majority of your assets. So there's 3 different categories of tax allocation. We have taxable assets, we have tax-deferred assets, and we have tax-efficient assets. And you need to understand how much of each of your assets falls into these different categories. Let's break them down. Taxable assets. These are assets that can be taxed up to 4 different times during your life. Tax number 1, you earn money, you pay tax on that money. Now you have that money. That's tax number 1. Number 2, you invest that money, and each and every year you have to pay tax on dividends, tax on short-term and long-term capital gains. That's not fun, but that's tax number 2. Tax number 3, if you are retired and collecting Social Security, those interest and capital gains payments can cause your Social Security to become taxable. And then tax number 4, you go to sell that asset and you get taxed again for additional capital gains. So that means you're being taxed 4 times on that money. Not a good idea. So you want to keep around 5 to 10% of your assets in taxable investments. No more than that, because the taxes are going to kill you. Category number 2, tax-deferred assets. These are your IRAs. And I am all about tax-deferred assets if you believe that taxes are going down in the future. So what you do is you put money into these investments, you don't pay your tax now, you allow them to accrue tax-deferred, and then in the future when taxes are lower, then you can access some money at a lower tax rate. Now, right now in 2020, I have a feeling there's a possibility taxes are going to go up in the future. And we know that the tax laws are written that in 2026, all of our taxes automatically go up because that's when the Tax Act expires and everybody's tax, except for C corporations, everybody's taxes go up. So you only want to put money in tax-deferred assets or have money in tax-deferred assets if you feel that taxes are going down in the future. Now, our third category, tax-efficient investments. These are assets that you pay your taxes now, and then you never pay taxes again. So you pay your taxes today when you put the money into the account, and then those assets grow tax-free. I love those words. They're my favorite words I get to share with a financial client is tax-free investments. It's awesome. It means we pay our tax once, we never pay it again. So when would you put money into tax-efficient investments? If you feel that there's a possibility that taxes could go up in the future. Now, I currently, right now, I feel that there's a great possibility. Number 1, because they go up in 2026. But number 2, we're facing massive debts, around 26 trillion plus in debts, huge deficits. So there's a possibility that taxes may be higher in the future than they are today. So you want to try, if you feel that taxes are going to go up in the future, you want to try to maximize the assets that you have. So if you're investing, try to invest. If you feel taxes are going up, try to invest in tax-efficient investments. If you have money in tax-deferred investments, it might behoove you to look at how do I move those money from tax-deferred investments to tax-efficient or tax-free investments. That's typically done by Roth conversions. Now, I'm not saying Roth conversions are for everybody, but it may benefit you to investigate this further and see if it makes financial and tax sense to get your money moved from tax-deferred investments to tax efficient investments. Because as I said, once you pay those taxes, you're not getting that money back. Uncle Sam tends to hold on to that money and does not want to return it to you. So let's review. We have taxable investments. And remember, those are investments that you could be taxed up to 4 times during your lifetime for that money. We have tax-deferred investments. Pay the taxes in the future at an unknown rate. And tax-efficient investments where we pay our tax now and we never have to pay tax again. So if you haven't talked to your advisor about this, you need to bring this up. If you don't know how your portfolio is divided up right now, reach out to us. I'll run an analysis for you. I'll give you a quick report and show you what percent you have in each of these assets. Again, if you feel that taxes could go up in the future, you may want to try to get as much of your money as tax efficient as possible because you pay your taxes now and you never get taxed on that money again. As always, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.